official MVP for his efforts. Joining us now, opinion editor for the National Review, Patrick Brennan. Good to have you here, Patrick. Staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon, Elizabeth Harrington. Good to have you with us, Elizabeth. First, the field. We keep hearing people say it's a crowded field the Republicans have. Does that slightly editorial and negative say it's crowded?
Well, no, I mean, I would think that it is a huge field, obviously, but I think that's a good thing for the GOP overall. I mean, you're not used to not having a next-in-line candidate. So here you have a big group of diverse candidates that all think they have something to bring to the table. And as you've seen with Rick Perry's announcement today, I mean, it was very impressive. People dismissed him, I mean, after his, kind of disastrous campaign last time around. But he's a lot more prepared this time, and, he has a really impressive rollout. So I think the more the merrier for the GOP.
That C-130, quite a prop. And the reality is the Republicans stand in stark contrast to the Democrats, who look like they're holding a coronation, for crying out loud.
Yeah, this will be an actual Democratic election on the Republican side. It's refreshing. And I guess the concern from the Republican establishment, from the RNC, is that if you have tons of candidates, if it's a so-called crowded field, that candidates will start saying crazy things to stand out. But I don't think we've seen anything like that so far, and it seems to have been a productive, and there's been exchanges of ideas so far, so it's so far so good.
Chris Christie has not announced, but is expected to. We're about to see this field grow, I think, considerably. Meanwhile, the former Secretary of State, she seems to not be able to get out of the news for missteps. Is it your view, Elizabeth, that she is in trouble, or is she going to remain Teflon throughout this campaign, irrespective of the conflicts of interest that are introduced and revealed?
Well, I think she is in a good deal of trouble, really, when you look at her favorability numbers now. And I think the campaign kind of realizes that they kind of want to coast along, stay out of the spotlight, don't take questions from the press, kind of try to let these scandals surrounding the Clinton Foundation go away, and try to make herself as this champion for everyday Americans. But the problem is she's not going out there really to talk with everyday Americans. When you see her, she's shoo-shooing them away when they want her autograph. She's raising all of this money. I mean, I think that's when she has to raise $2.5 billion and she's doing a fundraiser every 36 hours, is because she's more comfortable at a fundraising dinner than she is actually going out and campaigning and giving speeches and talking to the press.
Your thoughts on her candidacy? I mean, is there any sign that she is slowing down? The money keeps rolling in, irrespective of all of these scandals.
Yeah, the money's rolling in because she's not taking any time out of it to talk about policy or take questions for the press. So she can stick to the fundraising. But I think Elizabeth raises a great point that it's been a very long time since she was on the campaign trail. She spent a lot of time around the Clinton Foundation world, around the State Department. And so her campaign skills might be a little bit rusty, and we certainly haven't seen them tested yet. But eventually, they will have to be tested.
The Republicans, right now, it's hard to pick a front runner. I mean, there's either 3 of them or there's 5 of them, depending upon which poll. And right now, you're not hearing a lot of policy discussion. They're not separating themselves too much in terms of immigration, the Islamic State. We just reported tonight, more Americans have been killed in Mexico in the past year than by the Islamic State. More Americans have been kidnapped. Tens of thousands of Mexican citizens are being slaughtered. Yet this administration, there is no initiative whatsoever to reveal what's really happening in Mexico, Patrick, or by the Mexican government itself. What do you make of it?
I think that the Republican field will get to this issue eventually, and there's already been some debate. I think perhaps a surprising debate about levels of legal immigration that Scott Walker sparked. Rick Santorum suggested that in order to help wages for less educated Americans, he'd like to see a slowdown in legal immigration levels. And so it's early days, and I certainly compared to the Democratic side of the aisle, the campaign, the conversation has been robust. And so I think Republicans will start talking ideas pretty soon.
I think we've got a great opportunity for it. Let's hope that we realize that opportunity. The New York Times, Elizabeth, finally weighing in against those who are abusing H-1B visa privileges, firing employees and bringing in low-wage workers under the H-1B program, obviously violating its intent and purpose. I'm stunned that the New York Times is actually taking on the administration on the issue. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is kind of surprising, but I think this is an important issue, and I think if you're going to look at HB1 visas, that's exactly right. You need to, not use them what the program is intended for, and I think just going after the administration is a good sign that they're doing that.
Elizabeth, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. Patrick, good to have you here. Patrick Brennan and Elizabeth Harrington. Time now for a look at our online poll results. We asked, do you believe